And we are live. Hello, everyone. Carlos here. Today, we're going to talk about archaeology again. What's up on archaeology? I have a few articles to present, which I think will be entertaining. And what's up on archaeology? Sorry, people, technical problems. Anyway, back to what I was going to say. I have a few articles to present. I hope they are exciting. A few things that have happened this week and some last week, which I've been holding back. And so we'll get down to the nitty gritty. I hope everyone brought some beer. Beer is obligatory here. Just to enjoy yourselves. People who don't like beer can drink tea, coffee, milk, if you like. Not soy milk, just normal everyday milk. And I'll say hello to the people who are already here. Hello, Carlos David. Hello, Eon, Gaius, Darth Stigita, Warped, all my dear friends, which I always enjoy talking to you guys. So let's get down to the nitty gritty of the situation. First article comes from the magazine Science. Recently, as the date shows, January the 6th, in Ethiopia, they have found stone spear tips. They are made from obsidian. Obsidian is a natural volcanic glass. And Ethiopia, which is located in the Rift Valleys, has a lot of volcanoes there, as the Earth is splitting there. So it's in about a few million years, there will be the beginnings of an ocean widening in that area. And so they use the hominids used the natural resources to make utensils, weapons, etc. And obsidian is one of the best materials you can use because it's easy to chip, to make blades like that, blades, points, spear points, arrow points, it's hammers, etc. Hammers, axes, scrapers, adzes. One day I'll talk about what an adze is. Adze is a really good a utensil, woodworking basically. But we're going to concentrate on this one. Up until this discovery, we thought that Homo sapiens were the first to shaft blades onto a spear and make a point. But recently, about this discovery, which is they found 141 obsidian artifacts. As I was telling you guys what obsidian is, natural glass. And they've dated them to 200,000 years ago. That's 200,000 years older than the oldest, up until then, spear points that we have, which belong to our species, Homo sapiens sapiens. This particular implement was not made by Homo sapiens, but our ancestor. And our ancestor, our direct ancestor, was Homo heidelbergensis. I've covered him in a past video I've done, just to remind you how he looks like. I'm going to bring this down, and this is what I'm talking about. This is Homo heidelbergensis, our direct ancestor, and not just our direct ancestor, but Neanderthals, and also Denisovans, or Altai, Homo sapiens Altai, which the name's still not been, because he's so new, he's not been not been settled yet, but I'm sure, I'm thinking my opinion, just my opinion, this is my opinion, it will be settled as Homo sapiens Denisovian, because of the cave. Anyway, this guy made these tools, and we know that they were shafted, they were mounted on a spear, because once the archaeologists have done the tests, they've analyzed all the stress points and so on, and they found it's this part here of the article. The researchers studying the V-shaped fractures created at the moment of impact when pointed artifacts were used as weapons. Past experiments have shown that narrow the fracture wings. The higher the speed of fracturing, the cracking on the newly discovered weaponry reveals that the speed that these points were thrown at is 3.345 miles per hour, which is far greater than the maximum velocity of a thrusting spear. So they were actually thrown. They were the first spears that were actually thrown and not just thrust into an animal. Here it says that that they were interesting testing apart. The tools were definitely spear tips. How did they test them? They came when they analyzed and found that the features were dealing with the result of throwing impact, not thrusting. So up until now, Homo heidelbergensis before this, and Homo erectus, which was Homo heidelbergensis' direct ancestor, they may have shafted points onto sticks, but they used them to thrust animals, like they would run down. I've talked about how Homo erectus, who was the marathon runner, he could run. His build was designed to run marathons. Basically, he could he probably didn't have hair, so he sweated. Maybe that's where we got our sweat glands from running. He would outrun animals, his prey, and use the spear to thrust and give him the coup de grace. And these points are quite, I think they are quite beautiful. The way they were shaped. You can see where they were shaped. If you can see my cursor, you can actually see where the hammer stone hit the core to produce this blade. It was all over here. First they shaped it, and then they would hit it to remove this one. There's another one that removed this blade, this fragment here. Another one here that removed this fragment here, and another one here that removed this fragment, and also on the other side. From this find, the article's not long. I have it in the description. What this has shown, this discovery has shown, is that we have now more complex behaviors that up until this point they were attributed to us modern humans, Homo sapiens sapiens. We have pushed back this behavior, mounting spear points and actually throwing them instead of just plunging them into the tired animal by 200,000 years. And I think it's quite exciting, because every discovery that is being made now is a new discovery. It pushes us our own behavior, hunter-gathering behavior, because agriculture brings on a whole totally new set of behaviors. And this is a sort of a little bit of a breakthrough in the scientific analysis of how we got here, how Homo sapiens got here. This is a small window on our hunter-gathering behavior. which is quite exciting. Now, if you want to see, I've linked to this article in the description. You can have a look. Now, another thing that came about, this is one period, about 280,000 years ago. We're going to go even further back in time. As hominins, our first direct ancestor that could be classified as Homo, and even before them, our species evolved from basically a vegetarian, initially a vegetarian ancestor, very similar to the bonobos, chimpanzees. Not the same. We did not evolve from them. They evolved from a common ancestor to our species, both the pan-troglodytes chimpanzees, the bonobos, us, homo, etc. Our species developed from a common ancestor. It's been pushed back to about 8 million years ago. 9 million years ago. So anyway, at that time there were, along with these hominins, there were the absolutely delightful saber-toothed cats, the tigers. They were tigers and leopards basically, and at the beginning, they were basically predating. We were the prey of our direct ancestor. Were the prey of those saber-toothed cats. This article, which is from June the 7th last year, but it's quite interesting because we've always had a love-hate relationship with them, with the cats. Even later on, even today with the big cats, the lions, leopards, etc., etc. We sort of love and hate them. We hunt them now, and we've hunted them since we became actual predators. After, I would say, Homo erectus, because Homo habilis would have been a scavenger, and Australopithecines, especially the Africanus and the Afarensis, Lucy, the famous hominin, Australopithecine afarensis Lucy, which was discovered by the Leakeys. Well, studied by the Leakeys, wasn't actually discovered by the Leakeys. The Louis Leakey and Mary Leakey, they were famous Kenyan archaeologists. Just interrupting. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to concentrate. I'm not really watching the chat. I'm glancing over it. I just want to say g'day, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. While I have a sip of beer, my throat is parched. But this article is quite interesting. That it shows that it basically came out because they discovered a hominin skull that had 2 puncture marks on its the skull cap, and they were made by saber-toothed cat, probably a tiger, most likely. But I'm sure it may have been not the saber-toothed tiger that we are used to in the European sense. These would have been maybe a saber-toothed leopard or something. I have a picture. In fact, a scenario. It's not the same, but it's quite accurately describing. Where is it? Let me find it. Sorry about that. Where is it? It's from the Australian Museum. Here we go. Found it. Just bring this up. And as soon as my internet loads, a bit slow. This is what it looked like. That's the reconstruction of the hominin being eaten by a saber-toothed leopard or something, or a big cat. the notes here is they're a Paranthropus species. Australopithecine afarensis, maybe Australopithecine. No, before that, Neolithic. No, not even him. It was about 2 million years ago that this scenario happened. So this is what that would have happened. Our hominin ancestor that was basically vegetarian and scavenged some dead bones from the big cats and hyenas and so on, and he would have been fallen prey if he was not aware, because the camouflage of the tigers and leopards and so on are perfect for the savannas, and he would not have survived. And this guy was eaten, and they found his skull with 2 puncture marks in his skull cap, just so you can see what this article's talking about. Later on, you can see here this beautiful reconstruction of the what would have been the Megatherion attacking and killing our ancestors. The spear here, he would have gotten a stick to try to defend himself like these guys have done. It looks like a spear, but it's not, just a big stick. That's the only thing that that would have deterred or used as a weapon. Rocks and so on. This scene here shows that the Megatherion is a saber-toothed tiger cat, killed this gazelle, and these hominids are trying to scare it away to get at the carcass, because one reason why our brains grew, we were eating protein, which up until then we didn't have protein. We were eating mostly carbohydrates and a few amino acids, but animal protein would have is what basically drove our brain to become as it is now. If you guys want to see the actual scientific paper, this is an article, as is this one. Oops, I can close this one. Sorry, this is from a magazine. But if you guys want to see the scientific study, it's in this one, Mediafire. I'll open it up. You can download it in PDF, and it's only and read it at your leisure. I recommend reading it. It's quite interesting. Yeah, it is fucking technical. Trust me, it's technical. Unless you're actually in archaeology, anthropology, or even I've had to use other sources to get some of the new techniques that they are using. So that's one thing that that's recommended reading. Now, are we going on to another article? Any questions, guys? I'll look into the chat now and ask any questions. Let's see what's been up. Cats are fun, yes, and they are. I have 3. I love them, and I have a dog as well. So, well, I got technically 2, but they are cool. Did you guys know that we did not initially domesticate cats? You can almost say that they domesticated us because cats do whatever the fuck they want, and you can't train them to do things like dogs can. You basically feed your cat, pet it. If he's feeling happy, he'll say, he won't say shit. What am I talking about? He'll basically tolerate you and then go to sleep. Or as 2 of my cats that I have, one goes hunting, and he hunts. We don't have any rats around here, and small lizards and that and shit. Another one sleeps all day, eats and sleeps, and another one eats, sleeps, and sometimes goes for a little walk. So yeah. Now, I guess no one has any pertinent questions. Let's get on to the next article. So we've covered already two. We've covered the just stop sharing from a little bit, so I won't get any copyright strike. But I've included a disclaimer at the in the description, so I should be okay. Anyway, I'm providing information and so on. Now, this month I came across an article, well, actually a whole host of articles, because I just don't look at one article. Let's see, any questions here? Yeah, there's a theory that they used cats to hunt mice. Yes, they did, guys. It's not a theory. They even mummified them because that's they provided such a service to protect the granaries from rats that they even made one a god. What's the one with the cat's head? Is it Horus? I'm not too sure about the names, but yeah, and yeah, the baby is slowly changing through. Yeah, they are. Yep, yep. They are. Yeah, that we have genetically modified cats to an extent. The ones that we have now, that they yes, they are becoming more. Can I say useless? Because I like cats that hunt. I hate cats that just fucking stand there and just look like bloody fluffy things. You can get a stuffed one for that effect. So yeah, let's get on to the another. I found this article which I found was really funny. Funny in a sense that the conclusions I can accept, but there are more other. There can be other conclusions that they could have brought out from the results that they got from this. The title of this article here is that some Neanderthals were vegetarian. All Neanderthals ate plant food and meat. So did Homo sapiens. So did Heidelbergensis. So did every Homo sapiens. I mean, every hominin that has existed from from Australopithecines onwards. Well, we're talking about 4-5 million years to now, once they started scavenging the prey from other animals, like I said, could be cats, hyenas, etc. Even the remains from scavenging birds, the condors, the oh god, what are they called? God, what the fucking the name of those birds that have bald heads? Not the condors. They see, I'm shit at names. It'll come back. You know what I mean? The ones that scavenge that they fly above and someone will post it here. But that's the ones I mean. Vultures. Thank you, Jack. You are an awesome man. Anyway, this article basically states that they were vegetarian. They ate vegetables. It's nothing new. They ate all sorts of stuff. It's proven, just proves something, and they got this information as we go here. It's not surprising. Neanderthals did not brush their teeth, nor did they go to the dentist. Ha ha ha! Nice joke. And as we all know, if you don't brush your teeth, the little bits of food and microbes in your mouth get stuck in your teeth. They produce an excretion called dental plaque, which is basically calcium, and they are left behind in the archaeological record. All hominins have that, but we are now just begun analyzing those plaques and extracting DNA and other information from them, chemical analysis, DNA analysis, yeah, DNA even, because inside those plaques there are bacteria. And the bacteria shows the tartar plaque. Once they were analyzed, the DNA, they preserved in the clues what the Neanderthals ate. And they looked at the plaque of the teeth from 3 Neanderthals living in Europe about 50,000 years ago. Now let's get this context right. 50,000 years ago, the Neanderthals were just beginning to contact with Homo sapiens sapiens, right? That's important. It'll be clear in the following paragraphs and so on. And also, not in Europe, but in Siberia, we had a Denisovans, Neanderthals, and Homo sapiens. I've already mentioned that. I love mentioning this crossover of 4 human races. I will never tire saying it, and if I bore people every time I mention that, that is not my problem, because that is what a race is. Not what we are now, not Africans having black skin, Europeans having white skin, Indians having lighter brownish skin, etc., etc. The Asians having the eyes. That is not a race. That is just a variation of Homo sapiens sapiens. We are one race now. About 50,000 years ago, there were definitely 3, and from genetics there may have been a 4th from the Andaman Islands. Now, they got the plaque from 3 Neanderthals, 1 from the cave in Spy, Belgium, and 2 from El Cidron cave in Spain. I've talked about El Cidron. It's a very, very important Neanderthal and Homo sapiens sapiens site in Spain, and it's just a treasure trove of information there of our evolution and our contact, and even where we got our DNA. And this is one thing, and how we got to the Europeans have Neanderthal DNA, because the study published in Nature, and if you click on here, it says study. This link, the study, it'll get you to the actual study. I have it. I've downloaded it, so I may include it in the description after. But you just have to click, because this article's in the description. You just have to click this link, and it'll take you to the actual study. This is an article from a newspaper, but please go and look at the studies, the actual papers, the scientific papers that have passed through peer review. They have collaborated by various archaeologists, etc. That's where you get the facts. This is the interpretation, and I'm just presenting this interpretation. I will always go back to the study if you want the facts. That's cleanly. Now, they found that in the teeth they have found the evidence of woolly rhino, wild sheep. We can see here from Dobney. Dobney is an archaeologist guy. They also found that the researchers have also found evidence of mushrooms, and of course meat. You see the article, it says they were vegetarian. Some Neanderthals were vegetarian, yeah, but they found meat DNA in the plaque. Of course, that's why I always say go to the study. It'll be clean. Now, they found mushrooms. Mushrooms are what? Mushrooms are tasty. Everyone loves mushrooms. Even the hobbits love mushrooms. I love mushrooms, but some mushrooms can be medicinal, and other mushrooms can get you high. The shrooms, everyone knows that, and other ones can kill you. So I'm sure that the mushrooms that they were eating were either slightly made you get a bit high, or they were just fucking tasty. Because in Europe and everywhere in the world, there's beautiful tasting mushrooms. Now, most of the Neanderthals that they have analysed were really heavy meat eaters. This Laura Weyridge from the Australian Centre of Ancient DNA, University of Adelaide. some Neanderthals, yeah, they were as carnivorous as polar bears. That's what the old stereotype of Neanderthals. They were just meat eaters. The new studies that they've done on the plaque have shown that they had in my interpretation, in my analysis of the actual article, that they had a varying diet, and some shows here that the shows that some of the this is the controversial part. No, it's not controversial. There's a lot of reasons why this data has that in Neanderthals in Spain they ate no meat at all. They found that the plaque had chemical and DNA analysis, so they have pine nuts, moss, bark, mushroom, tree bark. Tree bark they would have probably been chewing. What's that plant? What's that tree called? Betulas. Betulas produce aspirin, natural aspirin. You look it up; it's easy there. It's like willow, but different from willow, and it's very indicative of a vegetarian diet. Read the article. This is a slightly interpretation of the data. No, they would have eaten meat. They were omnivores. They ate both plants and animals. So the actual paper gets a bit of insight. I highly recommend it. But as you can see here, again, a slight contradiction, and I've already talked about this. El Cedron Cave contains grisly evidence of cannibalism. So they were not just vegetarians. They ate meat. They ate each other in a ritual, religious, not religious, but ancestral worship or some other. We don't know. They also may have been facing hunger as well. There's all sorts of hypotheses. Go and check the video which I talk about the cannibalism in Neanderthals. It's my second video on archaeology, standalone, scriptured and all. So, yeah. It goes on to show that from the analysis, the plaque, you can see it here. The brownish stuff. That's the remains of the plaque. We've gathered that the Neanderthals living here in the coast of Gibraltar were collecting mollusks. They were butchering seals and dolphins and anything that's close to the sea. Of course they did, because they were living near the sea. Anything that washed up, anything they could catch without too much effort, they would have captured it. They would have eaten it. So this article is a good article. Just shows that our cousin ancestor was just as varying in their diet as we now do. Another article, that shows the same. This one is from NPR. This one is from Scientific American. It just adds on that the plaque that they found in the DNA of the Neanderthals also contained a bacteria that is found in us, modern humans, but it is different from the bacteria that is found normally would be found normally in the Neanderthals, because that plaque bacteria, as we split from the Neanderthals in a common ancestor and became isolated, the Neanderthals plaque bacteria naturally evolved too differently. Now they've analyzed that. They found in those three skeletons, those three Neanderthals, that they had plaque bacteria that was very, very close to us. And what did they come to the conclusion? That humans and Neanderthals were kissing. Sure, why not? Like, the evidence is there that they shared spit. The conclusion here is that it also says that they ate mushrooms, moss, pine nuts, plants, molds, etc. Then the hardened tooth from this is from 5 Neanderthals. Like, they reconstructed the microbes from the extinct hominin species and hint at intimacy, perhaps kisses, between humans and Neanderthals. It really paints a different picture. Most of their personalities, for those who were there, Laura Weyrich, that Australian microbiologist, paleomicrobiologist, says, and the Christina Wariner from Max Planck Institute in Germany. This basically is the Max Planck Institute is the genetics peak. Yeah, that's just pure. It's data that you send your DNA there. They what comes out, the information is fact. There's no, they do the triple blind test, so there's no nothing. It's just perfect in my opinion. This is my opinion. I find that the Max Planck Institute is perfect for archaeological analysis. Now, they found that the Neanderthal seems to have colonized by microbes. They found this from the mouths of the Neanderthals that they analyzed, that they were colonized, that microbes that are rare in us today, but they also found that they had our microbes in their plaque. Basically shows that they ate woolly rhinoceroses like the other one. And here, the Alcidron Neanderthals probably used plants to self-medicate. The DNA shows probably plants. Salicylic acid, aspirin. They had penicillin from molds, which was turned up in one individual's teeth. They also, one of the tooths had a visible abscess and stomach infection. Probably stomach infection is caused by the bacteria that causes stomach infections. So that's the abscess in his teeth. He was trying to cure it using penicillin mold. Evidence of the microbe Methanobrevibacter aureus confers another insight, because it is also found in the mouths of modern humans. The genome comparison, sorry about that, highlight this. The genome comparison suggests that the microbes modern lineage split from Neanderthals about 100,000 years ago, after the last common ancestor lived, which is Heidelbergensis, Homo heidelbergensis. And these bacteria, after they split, the Archaeobacterium was transmitted between them. Now, if you're swapping spit between species, there's kissing going on. Yeah, it could be. Or at least food sharing. Again, yes, absolutely. And also, as shown by that guy that used this Neanderthal that used penicillin mold to treat his tooth abscess, to prepare poultices, medicines, and all that. It's common practice between shamans and other medicines that they would chew a root that may have contaminated by the penicillin bacteria, or in between, you have to get the salicylic acid from the trees, a poplar tree. You need to chew it, and that could be a way to transmit DNA, or the bacteria, DNA and the bacteria, from one host to the next. That's my interpretation, but that's factual interpretation. That's how it happens. It is not me making shit up. So yes, this article is what first got me to the this Neanderthals, because it also shows on another one. Let's see if I have it here. Yeah, this is the actual article which I'm talking about. This is a scientific paper that basically explains everything that these two journals, from NPR and from Scientific America, they basically got the data here. I think this is pay-per-view, so I'm not going to. I can't get access to the right, but you can get the inference from the two articles of this article that tells you everything that these two articles talk about. So this is, I think, is also in the description. And what did you guys think? Was I too boring? Might as well close this one. Stop. There we go. So we know that Neanderthals and humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, and Homo sapiens sapiens in Europe crossbred. They admixed because modern Europeans have up to 5%, between 4 and 5% Neanderthal DNA in their genetic makeup. I've already said that I have 3.5%, which is a bit over average. I'm quite okay with that. I'm quite proud of that, in fact, because it shows that I come from a very long lineage of Europeans, and especially in my area. This is just a bit more evidence that that they did, in fact, coexist, and they coexisted for a long time. They coexist, well, long time, at least 10,000 years, 10 to 15,000, 10,000 years, between 50 and about 30-ish thousand years ago. So about up to 20,000 years ago. The 20,000 years that Homo sapiens and Homo sapiens neanderthalensis coexisted, and that and interbred and all that good stuff. Now, I could have ended it here, but yesterday, while I was watching the Twitter drama that has existed since Twitter was created, and Twitter is my release. I get really I laugh most of what Twitter happens. I see people arguing of things that they don't really know. Even me, sometimes I've argued. I've debated things which I don't know, but I can really disguise the fact that I don't know by going to some sources and just posting a few quotes, while other people just talk on and just talk shit and don't really know how to basically research their points of view. While I was doing that, I follow a couple of Twitter accounts, a few Twitter accounts that just basically deal with paleoanthropology, archaeology, and anything to do with science and Paleolithics and archaeology and anthropology, etc. And last week, an article, a study was released of the discovery of a cranium from a hominin, excuse me, which was dated to about 400,000 years ago. What caught my attention is not the age of the hominin and his skull, the fossils, but where it was found. So this is a bit of a bonus. A bonus of that I wasn't planning on doing, but I said, I might as well do it because it is interesting, and it sort of ties up with the Neanderthals. And as you will see in a few seconds, I'm going to share the screen. What we have here is the reconstruction of a hominin skull dated to 400,000 years ago. He was found. It was reconstructed. This is the reconstruction. The reconstruction was done in Madrid. But what was interesting about this was discovered in Portugal. And this is the article. There I have 3 articles. Now I actually have more than 3 because all of the major publications of science, and not just science, The Guardian, even Vox made a mention of this. Because as I watched over the Vox, I prefer the more reliable and sources that to present to you guys. Now, this is from Science. It's a reputable journal, magazine, and it basically shows that 500,000 years ago, there were several members of our genus, Homo, that spread throughout Europe and Asia. That is correct. Well, they basically would come under the umbrella of Homo erectus and or Homo heidelbergensis, which I'll show later the actual proof of what I'm talking about. Now, as it says here, but which ones are being subject to intense debate because of the morphological variances between those these hominins of the 500,000 years ago. They vary a lot in terms of skull shape and actual not the body. It's more of the skull shape from Africa, Europe, and Asia. There is quite a large variation, and we still haven't settled if they are the same species or if they are new species. The more data we can collect on them, the more we can settle it. But this particular skull was found in a small cave near Lisbon, central Portugal, Lisbon, called the Gruta de Aroeira, along with some stone axes. Now, this is a 3D pictured skull which has been firmly dated to 400,000 years, and it is an archaic member of our genus Homo. This is important. And according to the study published in the Proceedings of National Academic of Sciences, I have the actual study, which I will just briefly show it. The skull shows a mixture of features not seen before in fossil humans. It has traits that link it to Neanderthals, such as the fused brow ridge, which is this bit here. If you can guys see my cursor. if you can see my cursor, that's where the fused brow ridge. This is the brow ridge. This is the rest of the skull. Here is the bridge of the nose, the eye sockets. Below here is the ear entrances, etc. And where the lower jawbone would have connected. This is the top half of the skull. It also shows some primitive traits resembling other exotic fossils in Europe, which were Homo erectus. In this science magazine, it just doesn't say it, but that's what it was now. In Europe, the new combination of features on well-dated skulls may help researchers sort out different fossils in Europe are related to each other and how one eventually evolved into Neanderthals. Now, this discovery is important because it is the westernmost hominin from this period in Western Europe that used a cultural assemblage, the culture which we infer from the tools that we dig up, of Schulian hand axes, which I think I have I'll bring it up because so you guys know what Schulian is. Look up Wikipedia is fine. This is a Schulian hand axes, but I also have this. This is the study of it. If you guys want to go into what it's mentioned here, what is it? The study published in the Proceedings of Natural Academic of Science. It's this article. It's in the description. If you guys want to read it, it's there. The whole study of that site. It's in near Lisbon. They found the skull in this strata from the cave. You can see above it is modern, below it is later. This is the period of about 400,000 years ago, and it's divided into other strata, which has been dated. That's what the cave looks like. And if you guys can see it, I'll put it bigger. There you go. I'll even increase the size of it. That's it. You can see where the cave's located. This little red dot. I hope you guys can see it. But anyway, go to the site. It's got a link to it, or to to the description. Just open the site, open the description, the link, and you can see all that is. That's the cave site, where it's located. This is the floor plan of this, where it was excavated and where the skull was found. You can see the red marker. This is what Acheulean hand axes are. They are bifacial tools. That means they took flakes from both sides of the axe after they took it off the core, and to make it into a point which was was like a Swiss Army blade of a tool for our earliest ancestors. You could scrape, you could cut, you could puncture, you could even throw it. There's been studies because of the weight at the back. If you throw it some way, they found that the point most of the time statistically will go always forward. 7 out of 10 times, statistically relevant. And you can do everything with this tool. You can scrape, you can cut, dismember animals. You could throw it at them. You can scrape the hides clean to make clothes. You can cut wood. You can cut bones. You can shatter bones to get to the marrow. You can do a whole host of stuff with these tools. They are the Acheuleans. And Acheulean, the name comes from Saint Achule. Just show you where you guys is so we can have a reference point. Saint Achule comes from the department of Amiens, which is northern France. Here we go. That's Amiens, and Achule comes from this area of it's close to the Belgian border, and it's where basically Normandy is. No, not Normandy. Calais is. I'm sorry, my geography just fucked up a bit. So that's where they found the cave. They found first these assemblages in the 1859. So they called it Saint Achule. I'll show you another. So just goes back to the same thing. There was a cave there. There's a cave there which had these tools, and most of the sorry about that. Most of the names of many cultures of Neanderthals, pre-Neanderthals even, Mousturian, comes from Le Moustur in France again. For Homo erectus, Acheulean is pre-Neanderthal and Neanderthal. And no, wrong. Sorry again. Sorry. Pre-Neanderthal were Acheulean. Mousturian is Neanderthal, which one day later on I'll talk about it. And they found here the teeth from Arawera, one, the left mandible. It's all there. You guys can have a look at the paper. This is the actual paper. The bones here, they were sent to Spain to the. Let's see if it shows here where it was sent to. Nope, maybe it's here. No, possibly here. No, but as I say, this is an important find because it's the westernmost example of this hominin, and it is unique in some aspects because it's let's see if I can find it. There's total technical jargon here. Biologist and an anatomist would understand. Even I have some trouble understanding some anatomists' nomenclature, but they're comparing it to South African skull of more or less the same period, which contrasts to other skulls found in other areas. Again, slightly within the framework of 700,000 to 200,000 years ago. Have a look at this article. This actual the actual study, not the article, the study. This is the article. This is a study. It's quite a good read. Again, another study just to have a bit of a read. If you guys want to get into more of the technical stuff, that's also backs up what I was said. Now, why is it important for this middle Pleistocene cranium? Because, as I said, it's the westernmost middle Pleistocene cranium in Europe. It is one of the earliest fossils associated with the Acheulean tools in Western Europe. The Acheulean tools set, which I showed you guys what it was, I think they are named after Saint Achule, but they are also found in Africa from our earliest and the ancestor to Homo sapiens, Neanderthalensis, etc., etc. The Acheulean well, what they found in the excavations was between 1998 and 2002 produced Acheulean bifaces, which I showed you, where they were also associated with faunal remains. What they ate: two human teeth from them. What happened here? Sorry about that. Two human teeth. There was a canine and a third molar, which was very large, but within the normal variation of the teeth from the Middle Pleistocene. They took then they started working in the cave. They really excavated, was even heavy duty demolition hammer, and the cranium that they found was heavily fossilized, but well preserved in a cemented breccia. Cemented breccia is basically a calcareous covering of it. It was slightly damaged by the hammer, and they did a bit of damage, but that was restored in Madrid. It took 2 years to restore the cranium. And here is what we found. This is Amoreda 3, as I was telling about. It had a continuous but thick suborbital torus, as in the Blitzenbelgen skull, which is this one. No, it's not. No, it's another skull. It had a short mastoid process, as in this one. This is the Steinhelm Homo heidelbergensis skull, Homo sapiens. No, not Homo sapiens. This is Neanderthal skull, and this is the Amoreda skull. So it has features from all three. So get back to here. This hominin, as it's shown here, although there are several sites close to other representing the Middle Pleistocene hominin record, that's 700,000 to 200,000. That's Middle Pleistocene years ago. Again, Sina de los Huesos, Neanderthal and modern humans, Swanscombe in South Africa, now Arweda 3, that have Neanderthal traits in the face, but have different shaped skulls. But also, there's a group representing the Rago 21 and Ceprano. I think that's in Italy. I'm not aware of these two examples, but they are Neanderthal derived, which also had well-developed angular toruses, the SH cranium 4, which is this one. And they found associated with the tools and so on. So as it said, there were hominins that were most important. They're using the Acheulean industry, the Acheulean tools. Now, who used the Acheulean tools? From the current data that I have, it was this guy. I've talked about him before. Homo heidelbergensis. He lived in Europe, possibly Asia, Africa, between 700,000 and 200,000 years ago. He fits perfectly with the time frame. Plus, he also fits in with the stone tools which he used, which not by coincidence, by fact, they were the Acheulean tools. So we sort of have one of the most Western examples, at least in Western Europe, examples of Homo heidelbergensis, which was an ancestor to both. But the Arweda specimen is a local example. They would be different from African morphologically, obviously, And as we are beginning to find out, and I've already said that before, and even today, even in this stream, that they seem to be they have a lot, quite a great variations. The Homo heidelbergensis is in Africa, Europe, and Asia, but they did share a common, at least in Europe and Africa, a similar culture, which was the Acheulean assemblage, the Acheulean tool set. So, yeah, we end this bit here today. Just gonna stop sharing. So now I can see what you guys thought. Any questions, guys? G'day, Sinclair. Any questions? Any rebuttals? Anything? My net is shit today. Sorry about that. It could have been better, but that's how it is. Anyway, I think I might end it here. This is probably the format I'll be using from now on for Tuesday nights. I think I might do another stream or some other shit during the week. After, not on Wednesdays. Wednesdays is not when I'll do it. Maybe towards the weekend. I'll have to think of something more political, but because the political bits, they seem to, I'm bored with them, and I like to talk about archaeology. They may not have been as exciting as I could do it, because I want to get another perspective. Like, I like answering questions, so I might get someone next time. Who knows? I'll see what it goes on it. So yeah, guys, thanks for showing up. Sorry if I bored you to tears. Oh well. Read the articles. It's not as they're not as boring as I am. I also have, if you guys want to look, there is in my description there is a podcast, Scientific America. I've highlighted it. It's very, very interesting, and it's to deal with Neanderthals. So I recommend it. Anyway, thank you for coming on, and good night.